This is a disease that makes people zombies. It is common in Africa, and it is caused by a parasite called Trypanosoma brucei. It is transmitted by tsetse fly, which is a large biting fly that is common in tropical Africa. Initially, the infection will cause severe headaches, aching muscles and itching. In the late stages, also known as the neurological stages, when the parasite has completely invaded the brain, the symptoms become more obvious and severe. The host will find it hard to concentrate. They become irritable, their speech is slurred, and they stop eating. Their daily circadian rhythm becomes disrupted to such an extent that they can't sleep at night and find it almost impossible to stay awake during the day. It even becomes very hard for them to do simple mental tasks, such as drawing a straight line. This is an infection that carries nightmarish qualities, reducing many of its victims to a zombie-like state before they go into a coma and die. Trypanosoma brucei infection can be treated if detected during the early stages, though the treatment is very complex and requires the intervention of highly skilled doctors who specialize in the disease. Once the parasite reaches the brain, the chances of survival become lower. Even if you manage to survive the disease, you will be left with permanent brain damage. This brain-eating parasite is the stuff of nightmares. The brain-eating amoeba, also known as Naegleria fowleri, is a parasite that lives in lakes and rivers. It can be found anywhere in the world, but it is more common in the United States, particularly in Florida and Texas. The most common way of being infected by this parasite is when infected water goes into your nose while you're swimming or diving. Once the parasite enters your nose, it will crawl to your brain and literally start feeding on its tissues. As the parasite penetrates deeper into the brain, you will start experiencing severe symptoms, such as delusions, hallucinations, extreme phobia of light, extremely painful headache that can make you scream, seizures, vomiting, nausea, and coma. There's almost no way to effectively treat this parasitic infection. Once the parasite enters into your body, death becomes imminent. It takes between 7 to 10 days for the parasite to kill its host. Despite all of this, you have no reason to worry about contracting this parasitic infection, because getting infected by this parasite is extremely, and I mean extremely, rare. There are only 34 cases of this infection during the past 10 years. Fatal familial insomnia is an extremely rare genetic brain disorder. It is characterized by a gradual slide into dementia. Along the way, you will experience panic attacks, paranoia, phobias, high blood pressure, hallucinations, rapid heartbeat, excessive sweating, and a complete inability to sleep. Fatal familial insomnia affects the thalamus, the part of the brain that controls the sleep-wake cycle, causing the victim to stay awake for unusually long periods of time. These insomnia episodes will keep recurring for months on end, until you eventually die due to multiple organ failures. During the last months of your life, you will completely lose touch with reality and become clinically insane. Your subconscious will merge with your conscious, and ultimately, you will enter into a state of dementia. The disease is completely incurable and has an average duration of 18 months. Kuru disease is a rare neurological disease. It is common in cannibalistic tribal areas in Oceania, where people eat the brains of the deceased during burial rituals. The people from these tribes eat the brain tissues of a loved one after death as a sign of respect. This tissue eating results in the transmission of an infectious protein known as a prion. Kuru disease is also known as the laughing sickness, as one of the first symptoms is pathological bursts of laughter. The loss of emotional control is swiftly followed by a total lack of physical control. Sufferers will shake uncontrollably and completely lose control over their movements. There is no cure for this rare medical condition, and death soon follows after the first appearance of symptoms. Stoneman syndrome is a mysterious genetic condition that affects the skeletal and connective tissues of the body. A mutation of the body's repair mechanism causes the muscles, tendons, and ligament to slowly turn into bones. The condition is very rare, affecting only 1 in a million people worldwide. The condition starts from the shoulders and neck, making its way down to the legs. A second bone grows over the first one in a process known as heterotopic ossification. Surgical efforts to remove the second bone will trigger even more bone growth. In some extreme cases, the whole body could become ossified to the point that the victim will become equivalent to an inanimate stone sculpture. In some cases, Stoneman syndrome can be fatal if bone growth is stimulated in the chest area. As more bone growth is stimulated, chest movements become restricted, leading to respiratory arrest and then death. In 1973, a man named Harry Eastlack developed this disease. His body became ossified. He was able to move only his lips. Currently, there's no effective treatment that can cure the Stoneman syndrome or stop its progression. If you enjoyed this episode, then maybe you should consider subscribing, because I upload episodes like this on a regular basis. Also, it wouldn't hurt if you hit the like button. Thank you for watching.